1850. The sectional conflict over slavery in the Western Territories grew increasingly militant. And no single person played a more crucial role in the escalating violent conflict between anti-slavery and pro-slavery forces than John Brown. John Brown was born the fourth of 8 children in Torrington, Connecticut in 1800. His family lacked the means to support his study for the Congregational ministry, but by the age of 26, John Brown had his own family and business. A staunch opponent of slavery, Brown joined a church of black abolitionists in Springfield and heard Frederick Douglass and Sojourner Truth lecture. Brown helped the town become one of the safest and most reliable stops on the Underground Railroad. He secured the financial support of New England merchants for his abolitionist activism and his militant league of Gileadites, whose members he advised to prepare for a fight against the new fugitive slave law that year. Should one of your number be arrested, you must collect together as quickly as possible so as to outnumber your adversaries who are taking an active part against you. Let no able-bodied man appear on the ground unequipped or with his weapons exposed to view. The pro-slavery raid on the town of Lawrence, Kansas, early in 1856, was a call to arms for John Brown. He traveled to the contested territory, and on the night of May 24th, 1856, he and 2 of his sons brutally hacked 5 pro-slavery settlers to death on Pottawatomie Creek, beginning the bloodiest period in the history of Bleeding Kansas. Shortly thereafter, Brown led the defense of the anti-slavery settlement of Palmyra, Kansas, against the Missouri militia. But in August, the Missourians outnumbered Brown's men 7-1, and with heavy casualties forced him to withdraw from the town of Osawatomie. Abolitionists across the country celebrated Osawatomie Brown for his bravery and military acumen. Brown spent the next few years on the road, often in disguise and under false names, raising money and recruiting volunteers for his military insurrection plans. But when he finally launched his assault on the Federal Armory in Harper's Ferry, Virginia, in order to arm local slaves and launch a fight for liberation across the South, Brown could count on only 18 supporters. He had hoped for thousands. Trapped inside the armory after an easy break-in, Brown and his supporters had to surrender to U.S. Marines under the command of Robert E. Lee after only 2 days. 2 weeks later, Brown was sentenced to death, a verdict that did little to calm Southern hysteria and fear over the abolitionist threat, and that outraged Northern abolitionists. John Brown himself wrote prophetically on the morning of his execution, "I am now quite certain that the crimes of this guilty land will never be purged away but with blood. I had, as I now think, vainly flattered myself that without very much bloodshed it might be done." When Union soldiers marched against the Confederacy 2 years after Brown's raid, they included John Brown's body in their marching songs. John Brown's daring, if hopeless, attempt at leading a slave rebellion in the South remained an inspiration for African Americans for many years to come.